Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they think small every single day without realizing it. And if you thought like Grant Cardone for just 30 days, your habits would change, your standards would change, your entire mindset would start changing. Because success is not just about money. It's about how you think when nobody is watching. And almost nobody talks about that part. Look at the average person today. Constant distractions, constant excuses, constant procrastination. People want success, but they think in survival mode. They dream big for 5 minutes, then return to small habits immediately. And slowly, their confidence disappears. Not because they're incapable, because their mindset is quietly destroying their future. That's why this video matters, because the way you think shapes the way you act, and the way you act shapes your entire life. Grant Cardone built his career around one powerful idea. Massive thinking creates massive action. And today, you're going to understand how adopting that mindset for 30 days could completely change the direction of your life. Most people are mentally programmed for limitation. Be realistic. Don't aim too high. Stay comfortable. Play safe. From childhood, people are taught to avoid risk, avoid failure, avoid embarrassment, avoid discomfort. But here's the problem. Comfort rarely creates extraordinary lives. And over time, small thinking becomes identity. People stop believing they can improve. Stop taking action. Stop pushing themselves. That's why years pass without change. Not because opportunities don't exist, because their mindset keeps them trapped in average behavior. And this is exactly what Grant Cardone constantly challenges. He believes most people massively underestimate what they are capable of. And honestly, he's probably right. Nobody explains mindset properly anymore. Social media turned self-improvement into entertainment. People watch motivational clips, feel inspired temporarily, then return to the same routines. Because inspiration without action changes nothing. And this is where many people misunderstand discipline. They think successful people are constantly motivated. They're not. People like Grant Cardone built systems, habits, standards, routines, daily execution. Because successful thinking is not random, it's trained. And that's why mindset matters so much. Your thoughts become actions. Your actions become habits. Your habits become identity. And identity shapes destiny. That's the real chain reaction most people never notice. Part 1. Think bigger than your current reality. One of the biggest mindset shifts Grant Cardone teaches is to stop thinking small, because small thinking creates small actions, and small actions create average lives. Most people unconsciously limit themselves. They choose goals based on fear instead of possibility. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough? But successful people ask different questions. What if this works? What if I'm capable of more? What if I regret never trying? That changes everything, because your brain follows the standards you set. If your goals are tiny, your effort becomes tiny too. But when you think bigger, your behavior changes automatically. You become more focused, more disciplined, more intentional. And this is exactly why high achievers often seem obsessed. Because ordinary thinking rarely creates extraordinary outcomes. Now, thinking big does not mean becoming unrealistic. It means refusing to shrink your potential before you even try. That's the difference. But here's the real difference. Thinking big means nothing if your habits stay small. And this next principle is where most people completely sabotage themselves. Part 2. Stop negotiating with your excuses. Most people negotiate with themselves constantly. I'll start tomorrow. I'm too tired. I need more time. I'll do it later. And eventually, excuses become lifestyle. But people like Grant Cardone understand something powerful. Every excuse weakens self-respect. Because deep down, you know when you're avoiding action. That's why disciplined people move, even when they don't feel like it. Not because it feels good, because they understand consistency matters more than emotion. And this applies to everything: business, fitness, money, relationships, goals. Your life improves when your standards improve, and standards improve when excuses disappear. This is why discipline is like a muscle. Every difficult action strengthens it. Every avoided action weakens it. And over time, those small moments decide your future. Part 3. Take massive action before you feel ready. This is probably the most famous idea connected to Grant Cardone: massive action. Because most people wait too long. They wait for certainty, wait for confidence, wait for permission. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. But successful people understand something most people never learn. Action creates clarity. Not thinking. Action. The first video won't be perfect. The first business won't be perfect. The first attempt will feel uncomfortable. That's normal. But movement creates momentum. And momentum changes identity. This is exactly why some people transform rapidly, while others stay stuck for years. One group keeps thinking, the other keeps moving. And the scary part? Overthinking often looks productive, but it's usually fear disguised as preparation. That's a dangerous trap. And this is exactly what successful people understand earlier than everyone else. Your future rewards execution, not endless planning. But the next mindset shift might be the hardest one of all, because it forces you to confront your environment. Part 4. Your environment is shaping your future. Most people underestimate how much their environment affects them. The people around you, the content you consume, the conversations you repeat daily, all of it shapes your thinking. That's why negative environments are dangerous. They normalize average behavior, complaining, excuses, laziness, small ambition, and eventually, you stop noticing it. But disciplined people protect their environment aggressively because they know energy spreads, focus spreads, standards spread, mindset spreads. This is why high performers often become selective with their time, not because they think they're better than others, because they understand influence matters. Look at people like Kobe Bryant or David Goggins. Their environments reinforce discipline constantly. And over time, discipline became identity. That's why transformation becomes easier when your environment supports growth instead of distraction. Part 5. Become obsessed with consistency. This is where almost everybody fails. The beginning is exciting. New goals, new motivation, new energy. But after a few weeks, reality appears. Progress slows down. Results become invisible. Excitement fades. And most people quit there. But disciplined people understand something important. Success is usually boring. It's repetition, doing the same important things over and over again. Even when nobody notices, even when results are slow. And this is exactly why consistency is rare. People love motivation, but they hate repetition. Meanwhile, the people who win are usually the people who stayed consistent longer than everybody else. That's it. Not luckier, not smarter, more consistent. And this is exactly why thinking like Grant Cardone for 30 days can genuinely change your life. Because consistency changes identity. Part 6. Stop thinking like a victim. This mindset shift is uncomfortable. but necessary. Victim thinking destroys ambition. Blaming circumstances, blaming the economy, blaming other people. And yes, life is unfair sometimes. But successful people focus on control. What can I do? How can I improve? What action can I take today? That mindset creates power, because responsibility creates momentum. And this is something Grant Cardone talks about constantly. Winners focus on solutions. Average people focus on excuses. That's a brutal difference. And over time, that difference compounds massively. But here's the terrifying truth. Most people already know these principles. They just never apply them long enough for transformation to happen. And this final realization changes everything. Part 7. Your identity is built daily. Most people think success is one giant moment. It's not. Success is identity repeated daily. Every morning, you wake up early. You reinforce discipline. Every time you keep your word, you reinforce confidence. Every time you take action, despite fear, you reinforce courage. And the opposite is true too. Every excuse repeated becomes identity. Every delay becomes identity. Every distraction becomes identity. That's why your daily behavior matters so much, because habits shape self-image silently. And eventually, your identity determines your future. This is the hidden secret behind transformation. Not motivation, identity. That's why people who change their lives permanently usually change how they see themselves first. Now imagine this carefully. Imagine thinking like Grant Cardone for the next 30 days. Not perfectly, consistently. Thinking bigger, acting faster, complaining less, executing daily, protecting your focus, raising your standards. What would happen? Your confidence would change. Your energy would change. Your habits would change. And slowly, your identity would begin changing too. That's the real transformation. Because the biggest difference between successful people and average people is not intelligence. It's mindset repeated consistently. And suddenly you realize something powerful. Most people are not trapped by reality. They are trapped by the way they think about reality. That's the invisible prison. And the moment you change your thinking, your behavior starts changing with it. So, if you truly want to change your life, start with your mindset. Think bigger, act faster, stop negotiating with excuses, protect your environment, stay consistent when it gets boring. Simple principles, repeated daily. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary over time. And remember this, you do not need to become Grant Cardone. You simply need to stop thinking like the version of yourself that keeps staying stuck. One disciplined decision at a time. And the strangest part, most people will watch this, feel motivated for a few minutes, then return to the same habits tomorrow. But the people who actually transform their lives, they understand one thing most people ignore. Your future changes the moment your standards change. And almost nobody realizes how much their thinking is silently shaping their destiny every single day.